Hello, my name is Dawson Saunders, and this is the injection molding process for ETM 2080, the Industrial Plastics course. Okay, so I came to find that there were three major sections in the injection molding process, and the first of those was installing the mold. So step one of that is setting out all the necessary tools, such as the straps, the eye bolt, and just the brass tools to clean, just stuff like that, just getting all the necessary tools laid out and ready. The second thing you need to do is verify that the knockout bars and the mold match up. And then after that, you're going to want to seat the eye bolt on top, and then you're going to run the strap through the eye bolt and connect it to the crane. Next, you need to look uh, inside the mold and verify the size of the locator ring. And then once that's verified, you will be lowering the mold until it seats into the locator ring. And a important note there is make sure that the machine is open quite a bit and you have ample room to avoid the mold swinging on the crane and maybe hitting something and causing damage to not only the mold but the machine as well. After that, you're going to want to place the toe clamps in and tighten them until the mold is level. A very important note is that the same person must use the Allen key to tighten the bolts. It's just so that one person knows how tight they have the other ones, so they have to do the rest. It's not. It's just about muscle mass and stuff like that. Number 8, remove the straps and make sure no shift occurs when you disconnect it from the crane. After that, you're going to want to attach the B-side clamp, and then you're going to want to take the machine out of setup mode. You'll do that on the computer interface, and then close the mold. Once the mold is closed, you're going to want to attach the B-side toe clamps and tighten them. And same as the A-side toe clamps, the same person has to tighten those just so they're all tightened the same. After that, you're going to want to set the stack height, and then set the clamp force, and then set the nozzle height. That's installing the mold. Once the mold is set up, the next big step is setting up the machine, which is the longest step. Well, there's multiple steps within it, but this is definitely the longest subsection of the injection molding process. Number 1, you have to ensure that the chiller is on and the coolant lines are open, just to make sure the machine is getting proper cooling throughout the whole process. Number 2, you got to turn the red dial that will turn the machine on. Similar to the installing the mold, you have to have a couple things ready. So having mold release, the brand they used in the video was Stoner, but I'm sure just having mold release there is important. Having the handbook, that is where you'll get your temperatures, pressures, and everything like that. And then your brass removal tools. After that, you're going to want to select the material based on the mold. In the video we watched, they did HDP, but you can do LDP, as that was already, well, that actually had to be purged out of the system, but you just select the material based on the mold and what the handbook says. Number 5, you're going to want to pour the material into the hopper. It is very important that the hopper is not slid over. It has to be on the actual hole itself to make sure the material goes in. After that, you're going to want to close all safety doors. The machine will not run if it's it's a safety feature. The machine will not run if all the doors aren't closed. And some doors, one door has to be closed for the other one, so you just kind of gotta. It's kind of finicky, but you got to make sure all doors are closed or the machine's not going to run. Another fail-safe is the key. If the key is locked, you cannot change any settings on the machine. So you got to make sure that's unlocked so you can change settings and get all the variables where you need them. Number 8, you're going to want to turn the heater on. And number 9, you're going to want to set the temperature based on the handbook. Number 10, allow the machine to arrive to temperature, which takes a decent bit of time. It's actually the second longest part, or the second longest step of the process, the longest being cooling. And then after that, like I mentioned earlier, you got to purge out the old material out of the machine. And then after purging the material out of the machine, you must clean the nozzle using the brass tools I mentioned earlier. And then after that, you just want to turn on the motor, and then you're going to be setting the home pressure. You're going to be setting the dosage stroke, and you're going to be setting the shot. And depending on the part, or depending on the mold, the part, and what it says in the handbook, you'll get values from those. After all those are set, you're going to want to move the carriage forward and then apply, before it's all close together, you're going to want to apply the stoners or the mold release to the mold. And then the last step in machine setup is just simply to run a single cycle. Okay, in the last section of the injection molding process is troubleshooting. So here's a picture of 3 good parts. I'll mark some things out as I go on all the good parts, but number 1, if you have flashing, you need to adjust the clamping force. None of these have flashing really bad. That would be where some excess would squeeze out of the mold, and you'd have like extra material right here along this edge. These aren't too bad. For number 2, adjust the cooling time to fix deformation. You can see the surface on this one. It's got some of those sink marks, and it's not very smooth. You can look at the same part right here, and look how much better the surface area is on this one. And then also another defect I didn't really mention, the first 2 parts still have the screw on them, and you can see here this one doesn't. And then number 3, adjust injection pressure to fix flashing and sink marks. Like I said, none of these parts really have bad flashing. I'm sure this part right here would, but there just wasn't enough shot size, which is why it's smaller, which is one I didn't mention. But you can see like the sink marks right here on this material, or on that part, the sink marks right here on this part. That's just injection pressure, really. Well, it's a mixture of injection pressure and sometimes the shot being too small. And then for number 4, you have to adjust the temperature to remove some of the rippling from the part. This is just a screenshot from the video, so it's kind of hard, but you can see some of the sink marks and rippling around here. Just basically, so this first part right here, none of these things were done and the shot size was too small. You can see how much better this part looks, and then this is what a good part should look like. Shouldn't have the screw on it. The surface should be like very smooth and defined. There's no flashing along the edge. That's just what you want a good part to do. And these are the 4 troubleshooting steps to ensure you get a part like this last one right here.